use for self-defense. This is a side handle baton, also known as the Tonfa. It's Okinawan style. They make these or use these in Okinawan Japanese martial arts. You'll also see these. They come across some Koreans learn how to use them, Japanese or the Chinese learn how to use them. You see them in other styles too. But mainly these are Okinawan style, and it just has a handle here on the side. It's made out of an extremely hard wood. I put a link below if you want to see what a pair of these cost, but they're pretty indestructible. I've had this one for over 30 years, this pair, and I can still do push-ups on them. So you can use these to push-ups, strengthen your grip, or you can use them for self-defense. Now, I want to tell you the most important part of using simple martial arts weapons for self-defense is keeping it simple, keeping it practical. Only the techniques that work are going to work when we use self-defense. The first thing I'm going to show you how to do is simply strike straight in, holding it here in this position with your hand closed tightly around the handle here. You're just going to punch as if you would do a reverse punch in martial arts. So you just bring it straight in, and you're going to use the principles of self-defense. After you get in a better position, you ask yourself, what can you remove or destroy? His ability to breathe temporarily or permanently, his ability to see, his ability to be awake, his ability to breathe or stand up. You hit him right here between the belly button and the privates. You're going to put him straight on the ground. You can strike straight down that way, bringing it straight into the center line of his body. And any one of these strikes is going to move somebody back, and you have the entire weight of your body. Now, you have to do it with 3 basic motions. The first is an extension of your arm. The second is a turning of the shoulders and hips. And the third is taking a little step and advancing. And even if it's just a lean, as you do that, the weight of your body is going to be concentrated right there on that tip. And that hard piece of wood is going to transfer all of your energy into the soft tissue of his body. Even the hard tissue of his body, it's not going to be as hard as this. You're going to be able to move him back, strike him right in the head, right in the face, right in the throat for self-defense. Now, the second thing that you can do from this position is block. Simply by lifting your hand up, pushing your hand down, bringing your hand across or cross back the other way. You'll also be able to strike with that block. And by using this wood instead of the bone in your flesh, you're going to be able to break his bone a lot easier. So he's coming in with a punch or a slap, trying to stab you or choke you. You can smash it to the side. You can lift it up here and then bring the other one straight in for this strike. Keeping it simple is really important. Now, there are spins that you do with the Japanese tonfa, which are also used for self-defense. You can smack that straight across his face for self-defense. And again, you would ask yourself what you can remove or destroy. You can smash the side of his jaw. Maybe you go in for his temple, try to turn his operating system off. Maybe again, he's reaching out, trying to hit you, and you smash that hand away. Maybe he's advancing closely, and you strike down into the knee. And it's just a simple swinging across your body. Now, when you do that, you're going to loosen the bottom 3 fingers, and the first 2 are going to stay closed enough so that that knot doesn't come out of your hand. So now you're swinging this across, and you can also swing it right back. You can bring it in horizontally, you can bring it down diagonally, you can bring it down horizontally, both overhand and underhand. You can also bring it up in all those same techniques. You can bring it up with a diagonal strike or straight up this way. Lost my microphone, but you can't lose that. You won't be able to hear me. It's raining a lot outside. There's like a monsoon or something overhead. We might get interrupted. I keep getting tornado alerts. If that happens, I'll just swipe it away and we'll keep talking. The tornadoes down here are not to dismiss them, but they're not like they were in Ohio. We got like little minor tornadoes compared to the Cat 5 ones up north. Anyway, so you have these basic swinging motions. Now you can also swing it halfway. My hands are all oiled up from the next weapon I'm going to show you. But you swing it halfway, and now you have the reach advantage. Then you can do the same jabbing strikes that you did before, striking into the center of his body. You can also simply use it as a striking mechanism. Use it for that long piece of hard oak, smashing it across his face and the top of his head, bringing it up between his legs, into his ribs, whatever you've decided to remove or destroy, which comes from that Tim Larkin book, When Violence is the Answer. If I haven't done so, I'll put the link in the description so you can read that. Now, you also, with this Japanese tonfa, have the ability to hold it the same way you would a club. Now you use this to strike with. You can see that's just solid oak. That's a solid, well-oiled, well-conditioned, well-seasoned piece of wood that will break bones. You can strike him in the clavicle. You can strike that hand that's coming at you. You can hit the wrist. Maybe he's holding on to your child or somebody else and you won't let go. You can smash that right into those nerves there. You can strike and pull. So it can be a hooking the same way you would your walking cane. You can reach in, grabbing him by the back of his neck, strike and pull him in this way. You can use this to strike into his temple, into that jaw, into the neck, hit him in that neck, knock him out. He falls to the ground. You can easily defend yourself holding it in this position. You can also put one in each hand that way, and you can put them together to create kind of a blocking mechanism, catching his hands here, and then twisting and turning to add a little bit of force, pressure on his wrist. I'm not big into the blocking. I'd rather you keep it simple and strike him first when you can or when you have to. But you can hit with one, you can grab with one, you can fight with them almost as if they were kama, the Japanese kama, if you know how to use those, or if you were just using a traditional hammer or a club. Now you can also switch it to the other handle. There are 3 ways to hold this thing, and now you're holding it this position, and you're using it the same way you would a traditional set of clubs or sticks, like kali sticks, kali or salada or whatever. And you would just basically strike in those angles. And again, you have a reach advantage because you're holding it this way. Now you've seen, a lot of ways people do different techniques traditionally in martial art and kata or pumse and fancy things. But I want you to stay away from the fancy stuff when it comes to self-defense. I want you to keep it super simple. Keep it basic in straight line strikes. You can bring them into hook punches. Bringing your elbow up, you can strike this into his jaw for self-defense. You can bring those swings in and swings down. And then again, you can change all the grips and use it the way I showed you before, using it like a club and being able to reach and grab and lock and hold his hand in position. You can even, and there are ways to use it to get someone's hand behind their back and do all kinds of joint locks and pressure points. But don't worry about that when it comes to basic self-defense. Basic self-defense, the most basic technique, the fastest way you can get him on the ground and make him let go and stop attacking you is going to be the best. Immediate, direct, explosive, close with and destroy, violence of action, all require simple, basic techniques. Now, these are the Okinawan Tonfa. You've seen the police carry a version of this called the PR-24, and it's called a side handle baton, and they're longer. I have mine, it's behind some stuff. I was going to show you that. But I'll show you that next time we do a video on the PR-24. But if you've seen them, you know what I'm talking about. It's a hard piece of plastic, or sometimes they're aluminum. And some of them expand, some of them go hot. Anytime you get a weapon that expands, I'm not a big fan. I've tried a lot of expanding weapons. I've never really found one that I like that stays out the way I want it to. So, but use what you know is going to work best for you. So I want to move on. I've got 3 simple martial arts weapons for self-defense. Garen, it's good to see you. Garen says it's good for your gross motor skills. Absolutely, James. It's a bludgeoning tool. Yep, that's the most basic. Goes all the way back to the beginning of mankind. JH. Some silly comment about the Cobra Kai, I guess. In Elite, it's good to see you. Yeah, ACL Ramos says Tonfa. Tonfa or Tonfa. I wanted to show you the Tanbo, which is also an Okinawan or Japanese self-defense tool, a simple martial arts weapon. It's just a stick. Generally, they're as long as your fingertip to your elbow. And in this case, these are 15, 16, what are they? Oh, 18 inches. These are 18 inches. So I had to remember which ones I cut, because I cut all different size depending on what you want. I ship these all over. If you want, you can make your own. You don't have to buy one from me. This is a 36-inch dowel rod cut in half, sanded and oiled for about a week to make it extremely heavy and hard. I used to oil them for a couple days. Now I'm oiling them longer because I find that the wood is still accepting the oil, the mineral oil, and it's still drawing it in. And the more oil you can get it to draw in, the more strong it's going to be. It's going to bend instead of break, and it's going to hit so much harder because it adds so much weapon. Now this is a 1-inch dowel, and this is a 1.5-inch dowel, 1.5 inches. oak, and they're both made out of oak. So, but they're 18 inches. So from 18 inches, you get reach advantage. Most knives are going to be shorter than that. I don't suggest fighting anybody with a knife. If you can avoid it, get out of there. But if you have to, if you have no other choice, I'd rather have something in my hand than try to fight a knife with my flesh. It bleeds very easily these days. So from this position, you can hold it one of two ways. Either hold it here. This makes it harder for him to grab it and take it away from you. You can jab with it straight in. You can bring it up under his chin. You can bring it into his temple or his jaw with this hooking punch. You can strike with the backside of it, which is longer, right across his face, into his temple, up under his chin, up under his legs, between his legs, into the knee, into the waist or the ribs. You can strike very quickly this way. If he has a weapon or if he's striking you, you can intercept and smash with that, turning into it at an angle, allowing the wood to do the work so that it doesn't hit your skin, it hits your arm. From here, you can bring it back in, jabbing with that long side, sticking it right into his eyes for self-defense, or in his nose or his throat, whatever you can remove or destroy. His ability to see, breathe, think, whatever we want to call that. Nick says something about a gun with hollow point bullets. Of course, and that's what I carry, by the way. That's such a silly comment. We're not talking about that. We're talking about traditional martial arts weapons you can use to defend yourself. A lot of countries, you cannot carry a self-defense tool that carries hollow points. Most countries you can. It's only here in the United States, and some places, even in the United States, you can't take it onto a plane, can't take it into a courthouse, can't take it into a big concert, stadium, anything like that. Football stadium, when there's a game, NHL, hockey, they're going to check all your stuff. So learn how to fight with both your hands, your feet, and then basic sticks. And if you are like me and you believe you should always be carrying for self-defense, if that's your posture, then learn how to keep people from taking that away from you. Also learn how to fight when you don't have that as an option. I was two places today where I absolutely could not take it. And I had with me a short pocket stick, which I carry in my pocket, which is based on the Yawara, another simple self-defense martial arts tool that you can use to defend yourself. Now, from this position, you can pop it up. You get this reach. Now you've got your angular strikes, horizontal strikes, vertical strikes. You can grab it with two hands. You can reach in and thrust. You can smash him into the face with it. You can box his ears. You can lift him up off the ground. Lots of ways to defend yourself to strike with two hands on the stick. All right, anyway, James says, channel, so much respect on this channel, uses cane because his feet are damaged with diabetes. Cane is such a great self-defense tool. Yeah, Garen says you can't take a gun or knife into a hospital. And I know you're not allowed to take them into the VA. I saw all the signs, although I was surprised because it was my first time there and there was nobody, there were no, the security guard was about 1,000,000 years old, a very petite, elderly woman who walked like this. Forget the kind of guy in the gym that I see from time to time. And I don't know if it's the way he's made or whatever, but he puffs him. He's not a big muscle guy. He just kind of walks like that. Anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to get this sidetracked. The point was, no one's checking, which I don't understand why, because there have been events at the VA hospitals in the past. And that's one place where I think you should have someone at the front gate or at the front doors checking people as they come in and out. I don't think they should be taking guns away from VA patients or from the way that the Congress is trying to allow them to do. But maybe they'll get that stopped soon. Anyway, different subject altogether. From this position, this is the Japanese Okinawan Jo. The Jo is about 54 inches traditionally, but the way you measure one for yourself, depending on your height, is it should come up to about where your armpit starts, or maybe to the middle of your the ball of your joint there. That allows you to hold it in this position when your elbow's bent. From this position, you keep it between you and the threat. This is just a simple martial arts tool for self-defense, simple martial arts weapon for self-defense. You can stand with your lead foot in front and then have it in the backhand. From this position, you can bring your elbow straight up, striking him in the groin or up under the chin. Very fast, aggressive attack. Bring it into the other hand, smash through his face, slide the front hand down, bring the back hand forward, sliding your hand down your Jo and smashing him across his face for self-defense with the length that's in your backhand. Now you can see that I'm pushing, you're going to push it as you accelerate. So from this position, if you want to train with the Jo, putting your backhand, your other hand's always up and open, you're giving a command, back up, I'll defend myself. You have to, you smash it up. As it comes in, grab with the other hand, step and thrust, pull and smash. Now you're not done yet. You're going to pull it back again, and you're going to bring it up under his chin or into, if you can get him between the legs, you won't always be able to, but if you can reach him up, you can lift him off the ground, striking between the legs. That'll also put a lot of people on the ground. If not, get it up into his chin. You can finish him off by bringing it down on the top of his head. That's in the backhand. From the backhand, you can also just lift and turn your shoulders and hips, extend that arm, take that step and smash all your body weight going through this. This one's made out of hickory. I think this is the third link below if you want to see what these are. This is a Cane Masters Jo. It's a little bit fancier, but it'll last you forever if you want to invest in it. Hello, Kent. It's good to see you. Lovely weather we're having today. Kent's here in town. Avi, nice to see you. I don't know if you're Kent, if you're sitting there with Carolina. Carolina, hi. Hello, everybody. It's good to see you. Hen Y says we can get this. This is in the, if you go to the link below, I think it's the third link that says Jo, J-O, just meaning middle-sized staff. So a bow means staff, Jo means staff, Tanbo is staff, Hanbo is staff, or stick. And the bow, they're all just different sizes. The Jo is usually the middle size, and then the Hanbo is the 36-inch or walking cane size. So this is just a simple stick. Avi says, how violent is your country? Our country has become more violent because our border has been open. Our rule of law is failing in major cities because of politics and because of interference by people who are messing with elections, et cetera, or whatever the reason is. Maybe it's just we're in a cycle. You know, there's every year there's a spring, summer, fall, and then you go into winter. Winter, everything seems like it's dying off and it gets cold and things do die off. Then the spring, new growth, everything's reborn. We're headed for spring, but we're in the middle of a winter. So everything is a lot more violent. And that's true. I mean, the statistics are hard to read depending on who you ask, because some statistics will say, well, no, violent crime is down, but that's because they've stopped responding to violent crimes. They've stopped calling certain things violent crimes. They've stopped recording violent crimes. And the judges are sometimes just letting them back out in the street. But if you ask the people who are living in the neighborhoods, everywhere around them, if you just pay attention, if you talk to any cop, and I talk to them all the time, they will tell you there's an explosion. So yes, it is a little bit more violent right now. Avi says, is it an exercise or you really need to learn to defend yourself at all times? You live in Bali. We do practice martial arts, but mostly for sport. Bali, I've heard, is very beautiful. I haven't been there. Bali also has had its terrorist attacks in the past and maybe coming in the future, but it's a personal choice. I feel like practicing self-defense so I can defend myself and my family from any kind of threat, whether it's being prepared, having a plan if there's a fire in the home, or being prepared if there's an accident and carrying things with me where I can respond and be helpful, some medical supplies, or if it's a violent assault on me or myself or somebody around me, then I want to be prepared. I want to be able to defend. That's my personal perspective. I practiced martial arts as a little kid, starting at 9 years old for sport. Judo was my first martial art. And so I've done both over my life. As I've gotten older, then I've shifted more into self-defense and less for martial arts. But these are simple martial arts tools you can use for self-defense. And you just shift the principles. The principles are situation awareness, pay attention to what's happening around you, get in a better position, put one in front of the other. Number 3, ask yourself, what can you remove or destroy? You're going to ask this, look at his eye, you're going to take away his eyesight, his breathing, temporarily or permanently, his ability to stand up. And then you're going to stick that right through there, or you're going to bring that up here and smash him, smash here, bring it through, bring it down on top. You can box his ears with it. You can do all those basic motions. You can step and smash it through his teeth. Now you can also have it in the front hand. And in the front hand, you would point your thumb, just like you're pointing your thumb right at him. And you tell him back up. He gets closer. You put it in the back hand. And then you can thrust that right into the center line of his body by turning your wrists. You're going to lock it in place. As you step and extend that strike, you're moving him back. From here, you can slide it here and then bring, just like you're bringing a punch right across his face, like a reverse punch. You bring the backside through here, slide this here, bring it down on top, step in and smash, box his ears, smash him on the top, lift him up off the ground. All those basic things from the first thing. Avi says he would prefer to talk himself out of it. I would prefer to talk myself out of it too. If it's somebody who doesn't want to talk and you won't be able to talk them out of it, I would want to have more options. So being able to go away, I would get away from it if I could. I would leave the situation if I could. I would get my family away if I could. But if it's somebody who's intent, like an active shooter, a criminal, a thug, a punk, an opportunist, a terrorist, somebody who's coming at you or your family, like what happened October 7th is a good example. All of a sudden, whatever their political leaning was or their feelings about talking it out, some of the people who are living in the kibbutzes in Israel were now faced with, there's nowhere to go. They're coming after you. No matter what you say, there's nothing you can say to get them, to make them stop. They continue to press. And if they're going to continue to press and try to take away your freedom, your life, your dignity, how are you going to defend yourself? Past the talking. The talking has ended. So I'm going to point, I'm going to thrust, I'm going to strike, bring it down, lift it up under his chin, smashing him here, smashing down on top, step in and thrust, boxing the sides of his ears, bend the knees, and pull your whole body into it and lift him up off the ground. Sinjaman, great to see you. I haven't seen you in a while. Nisha, hi, it's good to see you, Nisha. Vengeance, what if against a group attacking all at the same time? How can we defend ourselves with a stick? Great thing about the stick, Sinjaman says getting another shirt soon. I appreciate that. Great thing about the stick is that you can turn, and as you turn, you can be thrusting with these simple thrusts. You can either be striking with these simple, just think of it as punching, right? If I didn't have a stick and I'm just punching with my hands, the same thing is happening as I am moving. So I can hit this person, smash this person on top and hit this person up. And all it requires is me moving my feet a little bit. Now, you never want to cross your feet over, because if they're pushing in on you and your feet are crossed, you'll trip yourself and be on the ground. And then you'll have to know how to fight with a stick from the ground, which is not easy. It's better to stay standing, or at least sitting if you can. So from this position, just turn your head first, you see the threat, and respond. Nothing to think about. Keep it simple. Simple thrusts or simple strikes, either here and down. All these basic angles, it's as simple as turning your shoulders and your hips to generate the most power, or pushing and pulling, pushing and pulling, pushing and pulling. That's what we're taught when you are in combat as a young Marine in boot camp, and they take us to the bayonet course, and we train with a pugil stick, which is a stick that looks like this. It looks like a little bit like a Q-tip. The ones that you see on the TV when they had like the American Gladiator shows, those other competition shows, they usually have a big pad. When you're in the military, it's a very small pad, and it's very hard so that you feel it. People get knocked out. You're wearing a football helmet usually and shoulder pads so it doesn't break your clavicle. But people still get their clavicles broken and they still get concussions. I know, because I gave people concussions. I had this training before I went in. I was very, very good at it. And it's as simple as hook and jab, or push and pull, push, pull, push, pull in multiple directions. And you just keep moving. And you might get hit in the head and you just keep fighting. You might get hit in the stomach. You might get slashed. You might get cut, and you keep fighting. Now, is it guaranteed to save your life? No, nothing is. I saw a horrific video recently. Jeff Quartermain Basin, he's an author, and he's a prolific tweeter or a LinkedIn poster. And he commented on a video where a man just walks up. There's a dispute, which is, again, where, like Wavi was saying, if you can walk away, walk away. If you can de-escalate, learn how to de-escalate. De-escalation is so important. You can learn how to let things go and get rid of your temper. Work on your temper, work on breathing, and understand, see the bigger picture. You don't know who's carrying a knife, and that knife will kill you. That knife will kill you faster than a gun. You don't know who's carrying a gun. A gun will kill you dead. And so if you can walk away from it, walk away from it. Don't go out looking for fights. This is only in the case you have no other situation. I don't put the disclaimer on there because to me it's obvious. Anybody who's going out looking for a fight's an idiot, and they're going to get hurt or they'll probably get killed. Eventually, they're going to either hurt somebody in a way that they're going to pay for it legally or by going to jail, or they're going to get hurt themselves in a way that they're not going to recover from it quickly, or it's going to take their life, or the life of somebody they care about. So learn how to let things go, see the bigger picture, all the de-escalation techniques, learn how to take a step off of the center line, smile, and say, you know what, keeping your hands open wasn't your, misunderstanding, I'm so sorry, it's not worth us getting in a fight about, or whatever it is, and then learn how to, walk away with keeping eye contact until you get to a point where you can increase the distance from that person who may have a knife, you don't know. And let your ego go away. Be the bigger person, as they say. But when you don't have any other choice, and it's you or him, and he's coming at you, and there's no alternative, and even if he does have a knife, maybe you've seen the knife, you still have reach advantage when you have a stick like this. This is 54 inches. This is a very long stick. You can put it in this position, and you can keep him back, and if he comes in, you can hit him as many times as you have to keep him from closing that distance. And then if he does get close, you change that grip and you're smashing him in the face. And if you can control his head, you can move him off you. But don't go looking for a fight. Don't be an idiot or a coward or a punk or a thug. And if you find yourself where you're cornered, or you have to go, maybe you live in an area where you have to go to work at night, or you have to ride the subway where we know there, like in New York City, where there are a lot of violent attacks, or you live in a certain part of Chicago where we know there are massive increase in attacks, or Illinois, or not Illinois, San Francisco, Los Angeles, certain areas. You might live in an area. I've got a gate in my neighborhood. These small little community, a lot of ex-cops and military. Not a lot of people come in here, but it still happens. We still had some people in here not that long ago. But it's a far safer neighborhood than if I lived in another part of town. And maybe you live in a part of town where you have to learn how to defend yourself, and that's your reality. And the rest of us can sit back and judge you and say, oh, you should learn how to just talk it out and walk away. But if you don't have a choice and you become the victim of attack, then I want you to be able to defend yourself. And it starts with your posture. It starts by putting the phone in your pocket or in your bag so that you can see what's happening around you. You can, this reminds me of the Eddie Murphy movie where he smacks it up and then sweeps the guy's leg out, Coming to America. Anyway, that's a technique. You can use your hand here and then very explosively and quickly smash him up here, maybe bring it up to the side of his head, maybe bring his legs out that way. But understand, Ryan says he supports the Second Amendment. I do too. Hopefully it stays here. Hopefully we keep our Second Amendment. Canada lost their, I know it's not called the Second Amendment in Canada, but people in Canada lost the rights to defend themselves in a big way. They continue to lose more and more. The New Zealanders gave theirs away. The Australians gave theirs away. It doesn't exist in Great Britain or most countries in Europe. Doesn't exist in Japan. Doesn't exist in South Korea. Doesn't exist in a lot of places, the Second Amendment. It's only here that almost everybody and their brother, well, that's not true. Not everybody's got a gun, but there are enough guns to give everybody at least 5 or 6. And that's just our reality. And I believe in the Second Amendment very firmly. And not just for hunting, but from protecting our families in all the ways that we're supposed to be able to protect our families in the Second Amendment. Anyway, that's all I'll say about all that. The point is, learn how to defend yourself with simple martial arts weapons for self-defense. We've got the shortest version, which is the 18-inch Tonfa. And again, I make these. This is the second link below if you want me to send you one, or make your own. Don't spend your money with me. Go spend less than 15 bucks. Buy yourself a dowel rod of a hard wood. Don't get poplar. Don't get softwood. Get oak or harder, and then cut it to the size you want. And again, we measure those with that middle finger to the elbow. If you want one of mine, it's that second link below. Or the Japanese Tonfa, Okinawan Tonfa, and learn how to use these simple weapons, smashing, swinging, punching, blocking. And the great thing about these, when you block, you're smashing his bone, you're defending yourself in a very effective way. Maybe he's got his hands on your neck. You can smash that down here, stick the second one in his face, and then finish him off, swinging across that way and bringing it back for self-defense. Or the Japanese Okinawan Jo. The Japanese police officers used to carry these. You can, if you go onto YouTube, you can look up Jo, Japanese police officer, and you'll see some demonstration documentaries about how the Japanese police officers, were trained by the, I believe it was Aikido instructor, how to carry these and how to effectively use them. You can also carry it this way. On this one, you can carry it front hand, back hand, or you carry it just like this. And man, that gives you a lot of reach to defend against a lot of stuff. The Japanese don't have a lot of guns on the entire island. And so a lot of their attacks are with knives. And so the Japanese are really good at self-defense with sticks. And Japanese police officers, and you'll see them, they have these clear shields, and they'll use different size sticks to defend against big kitchen knives and all kinds of stuff. And they have to learn how to do that. And, you know, some of their law enforcement carry guns, but they're like the British, where unless they have a specific job, or the Australians, they don't have that specific job, then they don't carry that gun. And we saw what happens in Australia recently with the stabbing, not just of the Bishop Emmanuel, but or Manuel, whatever, but in the mall, where it took a woman who was carrying a sidearm to put the guy down, but some bystanders were able to keep him back by picking up a bollard, you know, just what we would call a stanchion, a pole from the ground that you would have, you know, one of those do not cross lines in the bank or at the movie theater. They picked one of those up, and just because they had reach, they could keep this guy back. And they had a big metal pole that they could smash him against his face if he got any closer. So, you know, most of these things are instinctive. If you learn if you train with simple martial arts weapons for self-defense, then you can pick up anything. Your mind will go to immediately. You'll see something around you. We drove to Nashville a couple weeks ago. And every time we stopped at, I think it was the TA truck stops, one of them had the windshield wiper thing that clean your windshield. It was a long stick. It was a 6-foot stick on a pole. And I thought, man, this is a great tool. And then I stopped at a Buc-ee's, and they also had one of those long poles, and you can use that to defend yourself. But gas station, there are things everywhere. Marta says, blood of Jesus is everything. Every knee will bow. Amen to that. Let's share our beliefs. Let's not hide those things. If those are your beliefs, absolutely, those are my beliefs. Even the Yakuza are hesitant to use them. Yeah, they don't, because they don't want to bring the whole force of the law enforcement and military down on their heads. So they stick to stabbing each other. Prince Goro asked, best place to strike. That's a question. It's always going to depend. There's no best place. There's what's the best place right now. When you're in a situation, you might be sitting, you might be on the ground. Maybe they hit you in the head and you fell to the ground. Maybe there's someone holding you from behind. Maybe you're standing, sitting, lying down. So you're all at different levels, and it depends on where they are. What you have to do to, Prince Goro, ask yourself this question: what can I remove or destroy? And again, that comes from Tim Larkin's book, When Violence is the Answer. I'll put the link in the description. When Violence is the Answer, it tells you, ask yourself, what can I remove or destroy? And what you're thinking about is his ability to see, grab, stab, punch, hit you, his ability to breathe temporarily or permanently, his ability to be awake. If he's got a knife especially, you can turn off his operating system you use something like this and smashing against the side of his head, or maybe you hold it like that, and then you hit that temple or hit that neck. Blood flushes out of his brain. He's unconscious on the ground. He's no longer the threat that he was when he pulled that knife out. So you ask yourself, what can I remove or destroy? Bill, it's good to see you. Bill's in Las Vegas. Thoughts on IRL crime? I'm not sure if you mean Ireland crime or IRL. I have a cybersecurity certificate that I recently finished. So I'm thinking of IRL crime in a different way. Are you talking about Ireland? I don't know enough about Ireland. We were hoping to go there this summer. The prices are too much, so we're going to shoot for later in the fall. I have friends that just got back. They said the crime in Ireland, in Dublin, is very traditional, pickpockets, all that other stuff. but it's not. It was a great, pleasant trip. They had a great time. So I know I've seen other things about what's happening in communities and homes, and it's the same thing that's happening everywhere in the first world. Is there's this transfer of people, and it's getting crazy out there. So. Scalping Your TP said after home invasion, started taking Filipino martial arts and moved on to small circle jiu-jitsu. Love Filipino martial arts, all FMA, Kali, Escrimas a lot. So much value there. So many things you can learn to do with sticks and knives, also to do with your hands, elbows, flexible weapons. Small circle jiu-jitsu has a very deep place in my heart because of Wally J, Professor Wally J. I was blessed to be able to go to seminars when he was still teaching when I was young. And I was able to go to seminars, and just a brilliant, capable person. But the whole concept of small circle jiu-jitsu, you should look it up if you don't know what it is, but it's so super effective. And I had an experience wrestling or playing judo with these in Atlanta with a school, and the head of the school was an Olympian, and he was a big dude, bigger than me, and almost everybody there was bigger than me. I had never been in an experience where everybody's bigger than me. Normally, I'm the biggest person or one of the biggest, and but they all grapple extremely well. And but he applied small circle jiu-jitsu, and those the principles of a great any kind of judo, jiu-jitsu, whether it's Brazilian or traditional, understanding the way the body works and how to use leverage. It's just amazing. So I love small circle jiu-jitsu. Johan is from South Africa. Hello, Johan. It's good to see you. Thanks for being here. I hope you're safe over there. JR said when he was young, had the best self-defense item, the bicycle. People would stand around waiting for you. Go to or from work, and you just rode around them. Amen. I rode a bicycle for 3 years, had no car everywhere I went as a young man, all over town. And then I had long trips on the weekends. I would try to do centuries every weekend. So I understand the value of the bicycle. The only problem with the bicycle, especially around here, I would not ride a bicycle in South Florida. It's just too insane. The people here drive so criminally insane. There's so many people from all over the world, and a lot of them are aggressive. A lot of them just don't care. And I think I wouldn't do it anymore. I'm just afraid that I wouldn't last long. I'd get run over fast. When I rode my bicycle, people would throw beer cans, beer bottles. Sometimes they'd be full. Pop cans. It's just something about people on a bicycle. And I didn't wear I had on the bicycle shorts, but I had the shorts that go over the shorts. So I had something that looked like this, baggy, and then I had the tight compression shorts under that with a pad, because I didn't want to I don't want to give anybody any more of a reason to ignorantly want to hurt me, because it's a stupid, ignorant thing when people see someone on a bike. But it's just weird how some people are triggered by that, and mitigating stress. Or mitigating threats. I don't ride a bicycle for that reason. Anyway, you guys have been awesome. Sorry to ramble here at the end, but it's getting hotter here in the garage. It's pouring outside. I think I might just go out and stand in it and cool off. I'm soaked in sweat. You guys have been awesome. I'll see you on the next one. Thank you very much.